So let us begin the Gita class today. We have finished the 2 chapters, so we shall enter into the 3rd chapter. Now, you have seen perhaps that in the middle of the 2nd chapter, Sri Krishna was telling Arjuna that so far I have talked about you the thing which has to be done according to Sankhya Yoga. That means, you see, Sankhya means a little, it is not Sankhya, Sutra, etc., etc. It doesn't mean that. It means according to knowledge. Now I am telling you the understanding which has to be, which you need to have according to yoga. Yoga in the sense of action with a dedication and with equanimity. Say, in that sense, he takes the word. You say. Now, ending, the whole chapter ends with the question of sthita prajna, a person established in wisdom. Now, this, the whole your teaching, you see, confuses Arjuna much more. Instead of, do you hear it clearly, all of you?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So let me continue then. So it's confusing because at one point Krishna said that tasmat tanutishta yasho lavasya jitva shatrun bhungsharajjang samriddham, etc. Get up and do the fight, and you win the throne and enjoy the kingdom, etc. But in the same chapter, he is talking about sthita prajna, where all the sense organs are withdrawn from the objects of the senses, and you see, and ya nisha sadbhutanam tasyam yavarti samyami, in whatever things the ordinary people is awake, in you see, is not awake. You see, in that the yogi is awake. That means the whole idea of indrawnness, of high level of serenity, etc., that ideal has been put forward. So how to reconcile it with this your karma, that is not only an ordinary karma, it is a fierce karma. It is a fratricidal war which will annihilate, you see, many of the clan, many of the friends, so many of the friends. So you see, it is a fierce thing. So you see, that is the question with which Arjuna comes. He says, Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir yanardana tatking karmani ghore manniya jayasi keshava. If you think that this buddhi yoga, that means this discriminative insight, is higher than action, then why you are, you see, prompting me to be engaged in this fierce action? Karmani ghora, it is not an ordinary karma even, it is ghora karma. It is a yes, a fearsome battle, you see. So, and not only that, he adds that Vamishaneva by Kena Buddhin Mohesivami Tadekang Badanishchitya Yena Shriham Apnuam. It means that your talk is a little ambiguous. you are focusing on one thing and again focusing on just the opposite thing. So as if that means idea is that it is confusing my understanding, but you see that you being a teacher and you see a great yogi, you see it is not probable that you are confusing. That's why Eva, as if you are confusing my etc. Therefore, you tell something, you say one thing, you say, by which I shall be attaining what is the the path of say is beneficial to me. You see, that is this. Just tell me something. You see, you are mixing up. You are giving. You are changing focus. You see. So that is the thing. You see. Sri Bhagavan watch. Now he answers. Lokesmin dvidha nishtha pura prakta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Now he says two types of your nishtha means something which you take up with great love and adoration. A kind of vow, a kind of resolution you are taking, that is called nishtha. You do not swerve from it under any circumstances. So he says that in ancient days, I have taught mankind two kinds of nishtha. Lokesmin dvidha nishtha pura pratta mayanadha. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. Those who are taking the Sankhya path, for them the Jnana Yoga, and those who are yogi, for them this Karma Yoga. This is the first time in the whole Gita that the word Karma Yoga is being used. Karma Yogena Yoginam. You see, so this is very important. That means this is a point of reflection. He is not talking about karma. He is talking about Karma Yoga. You see, that means karma done with an element of yoga. Yoga means your mental equilibrium. You are not tossed by loss or gain. I say it will be elaborated later on. You see, so that kind of thing. You see, that is karma yoga. You maintain your equilibrium always. You see, because you are not prompted by the result of the action. You see, that is the idea. You give everything you offer to God. That is, of course, in the course of this third chapter, Sri Krishna will also mention another type of detachment through knowledge. It is that through devotion. It is detachment through devotion. You are offering everything to God. So you see, as in the 47th shloka, he will say that karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have right to action, not to the fruits thereof. You see. So that is karma yoga. Na karmanam manarambhan nishkarmam purushasnute na cha sanyasana deva siddhing samadhigacchati. Two things he says in this shloka. You see, this is very important for the idealists, especially in India. You see, down the centuries, you see, highly idealistic boys and girls, young men and young women, they feel a little detachment at one point and give up everything, all work, and they think that we are treading the path of spirituality, you see. And then there is no progress, you see. So Sri Krishna is giving a warning here. Na karmanam anarambhan nishkarman purushasmite. The state of inaction, which is found in highly accomplished yogis, they do not do anything, they just sit in a corner and in a contemplative mood, etc. That is nishkarma. He says that that state, that high state of inaction, which is coupled with spiritual height, that you cannot attain without beginning work. Without having been engaged in work, you cannot. Na karmanam anarambhan nishkarmang purushasmite. That means you have to go through this karma and adapt karma with yoga, and gradually you have to, you say, prepare yourself to attain that state. That is one point. You cannot have it like this. Another thing is that nacha sannyasana siddhing samadhigacchati. Just taking up the sannyasa, you do not attain perfection. Because sannyasa means you prepare a homa, you give oblation and take some vows and take a robe. But your mind is not prepared for that, you see, wholly. So you see, you will not attain your perfection. Then he says again, nahi kaschit kshanamapi yadu tischatta karma krit karyate avashyak karma sarva prakritiyair gunai. Even for a moment, a person cannot, you see, he says, tishtati akarma krit, can remain without doing action. You are physically you are doing action. Breathing itself is a great action. Then mentally you are thinking. You see, so body, mind, they are engaged in action. Even if you sit in a corner and if your mind is not prepared, your mind will be running after the objects of the senses. You are sitting in a corner, just, you see. So that's why kayate yavashak karma sarva prakriyai gunai. So everyone, this guna, which is coming from prakriti. Prakriti, you remember this Gita very often refers to this cosmology of Sankhya and Yoga. Prakriti is the name of the matrix of the physical and psychical universes. That is called Prakriti. Apart from that, there is the Purusha, this spirit, which is not the immaterial thing. So this Prakriti, from that, you see, in the beginning, they say that according to this Sankhya Yoga system, the three gunas, they compose the Prakriti. And when they're in equilibrium, there is no samsara, nothing, you see. There is no evolution, nothing. You see. It remains, you see, in what they call the Pralaya Avastha. That means Sishti Sthiti Laya. There is this creation, and the creation is your multiphase decompositions, as this is coming evolution from the Prakriti, etc. Then after a time, the whole thing is withdrawn, annihilation, pralaya, and then it is in the pralaya stage, that means when another creation would be there after that. So in that pralaya stage, there is complete your equilibrium among the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. This is the Sankhya principle. So everything from that, it comes from Prakriti comes Mahat. Mahat means the seed of creation. Sometimes it is called cosmic intellect, because it is the blueprint of the whole universe. It is like a seed. As in the seed, the whole tree is there in a potential form. So in that Mahat, the would-be universes rather, physical and psychical, they are there. You see. So from that, they say that there is evolute of, you see, the ahankar, they say, cosmic egoity. And from that, you see, your tanmatras are there. Tanmatras means, another name is sukshma bhuta, the subtle matter. And these tanmatras, and all these things come from that, you see. So sukshma bhuta, gradually it becomes sthula bhuta, you see. So gross matter, etc. And apart from that, you see, the evolution comes, you see. So that's why it is saying that everyone is compelled, you see, karyate hyavashah karma, is compelled to work, because the impulses of nature, you see, deprive him of freedom. His avasha. Karyate hi avasha karma, because he's forced to work. That means you think that you have freedom to work, you see. It is not that. Your mind is going in certain direction, that is, everything is being, you see, programmed. It is, you are compelled to do that. You see. For example, the mother sees the child, and a mother cannot have but sympathy for the child and love and affection for the child. She is compelled, you see, because nature has made her like this. You see. So everyone is working under the compulsion of nature, because man himself is a part of the nature, and nature is in action always. So man cannot rest inactive. That is the point. Karmendriyani sangayamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyachara sauchati. So now, the situation being this, you try to control your karmendriya. Karmendriya, these organs of action. We have hands, we have feet, we have your eyes, we have ears, you see, we have mouth. So all these things, they are your organs of action, and you try to control them and sit in a corner But manasa smaran indiyarthan. With your mind, you are remembering the objects of the senses. You see, Bimuratma mitthachara sauchate. That person is a deluded person and he is a hypocrite. He is not a yogi, just sitting in a corner, you see, because his mind is not in your contemplative mind, is in objects of senses. Because he has not trained his mind, you see, through action. That is what you see. It is through action, engaging in action, not the ordinary action coupled with an element of yoga, that you gradually train your mind, etc., to get to a certain elevation, and then you can take up other yogas like Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, etc., to reach perfection. That is what Krishna wants to say. That you cannot say give up karma like this. You see. That is one point which has to be noted by the idealistic young men and women of India. Some of them are very idealistic and do this mistake. Suddenly they give up everything and want to go to the Himalayas to become Vairagi. Yasti Inyani Manasa Niyamya Ravate Juna Karmendye Karmayogam Asaktasha Vishishyati. But on the other hand, the person who is with his mind is controlling the Indriyas, and then he attempts to do some work with his organs of action, and that work is not ordinary work, karma yogam. That means karma with an element of yoga, asaktasya vishishyate. That person is detached, and you see, and such a person is excels. Vishishyate means one who is vishishta, one who is prominent. Prominent among whom? Prominent among yogis. Asaktasya vishishyate. That's why you see, that's why very great, you say, there have been sages who remain inactive, you see. A modern example is your Trailanga Swami, for example. But this path has not been taken by most great sages. For example, take the question of Buddha, take the question of Ramakrishna, take the question of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, very great sages who worked. They always was working for, they had nothing to gain in this world. They did not search any self-interest, but they worked for humanity, and their mind was always in God. Niyatang kuru karma twang karma jaya karmana. Always do work niyatang karma. That means this prescribed work you do. You should not do random work, and Krishna will gradually develop the idea of swakarma. Swakarma, that means karma, which is very natural to your being, because each person's body and mind, that is a separate thing. There is a particularity in the body and mind of each person. So the karma should be in tune with this particularity. A person who has no, say, buddhi is not sharpened, still he is striving to do a doctorate, a research, etc., etc. He's wasting time. He may have in certain branches of knowledge. It is very easy to have a doctorate, for example. But real, real buddhi must be developed. That means the buddhi, when developed, and you pour your intellect in a certain subject, you not only learn the subject, you discover new ways, new paths, new avenues in that branch of knowledge. That means you are fitted for that thing. There are others who are not, you see. One day I was giving here a talk on Shankara's your philosophy. I found some persons were appreciating. A doctor was there in the group, and he said that I am not understanding anything. I did not tell him, but I was thinking to myself that you are coming from a Bania family, and you may have you see, just how you have a degree in medicine, that does not make you, intellectual for that. The other person is reading philosophical things, etc., thought about things. So he is appreciating, and he is not appreciating. This is the main question is swakarma. Everyone has to do swakarma. You see, swakarma will be developed very much by Krishna. The idea of swakarma in the whole of Gita. And then he says, Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheda karmana. If you are totally inactive, you cannot even, maintain your body. See, body you must eat in the proper time. You must brush your teeth. You must, all these things are necessary. You must clean yourself every day. Your clothes must be clean. So all these things, requires some action. You cannot, go on even living. If you are totally addicted to inaction. Yagatha karmanonnatva lokoyam karma bandhana. Tadattham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Now here, the first time in a very very metaphoric sense, he is introducing the word yajna. And throughout the third and especially in the fourth chapter, this yajna will be used in much more metaphorical form. Yajna normally is the Vedic sacrifice. That means in ancient days, in many cultures, not only in India, even outside India, in many cultures, they used to offer something to God. Offer something to God. The Aryans, they used to offer to God through the fire. Through the fire. So, so that is yajna, but yajna in in the metaphorical sense, here generally it means offering to God. You see. So in a later chapter, he will say, Dabba yagga, stapo yagga, jnana yagga, tatha pare. Jnana yagga. You are reading books and trying to understanding it is higher thoughts, etc. This is jnana yagga. Tapo yagga. You are doing tapasya. Tapasya means penances, certain your difficulties were, for example, the Holy Mother, she did the Panchatapa, the 5 fires, you see, the 4 blazing fires on 4 sides and the sun above, from morning till sunset, sitting, you see, like that, without moving, you see. This was a kind of tapasya, you see. So people do many such tapasyas, you see. Some people, you see, doing the tapasya of mauna, not talking, I say, for a certain period. So mauna is tapasya. Then your upavasa is another tapasya. For certain days you do not, you are fasting, or you are taking very less food, or they used to do chandrayana, that means according to the phase of the moon, you are increasing and decreasing your food amount. So all these tapasyas are there. You say certain times there have been this Kathia Baba, for example. He used to have as his your loincloth, instead of loincloth, he used to have your 2 pieces of wood. They are screwed together. You see. That means even if you lie down, you have to lie down like that, you see, with a piece of wood, you see, attached to your waist. So these are the kinds of tapasya. There are people who, for example, instead of lying down, they have taken the vow of standing. So they lean against something, a tree or something, and remain standing for years and years. So these are different tapasyas. Yagyarthat karmanonyatya lokoyam kalpabandhana. Apart from the yagya, that means sense of offering is not there. You see, all other karmas, they lead to bondage. That is Krishna says. If there is no sense of offering, so all karmas will lead to bondage. Tadartham karma kunteya mukta sangha samachara. Therefore, tadartham, for the sake of that is the sake of God. You see, work for the sake of God without personal attachment. You see, that is Krishna is saying. Now, your a little, you see, yajna being the, you can understand this. It is difficult for us to imagine the ancient India, how it looked like. The major, you see, major religious activity was yajna. There was big yajnas, there was small yajnas for the grihasthas, you see. Agnihotra, you see. They used to do householders, and also the big yajnas like Ashwamedha, Bhajapeya. You see, our one minister, prime minister was Bhajapeyi. That means one of his ancestors did this Bhajapeya yajna. You see, huge amount of food and drink, Bhaja Peya. This is served during that sacrifice. So through that, you see, the family came to be known as Bhajapeyi because they did Bhajapeya Yagya. So Ashwamedha Yagya. So far as we know, India's last Ashwamedha Yagya was done by the Gupta kings. And the most holy, you see, place in Benares. Benares is dedicated to Shiva, this Vishwanath temple. Very near the ghat is called Doshashwamedha Ghat. That means 10 Ashwamedha sacrifices were done there, you see, in the past. So, you see, so this is your India of those days. So what Krishna is saying, you must remember it in this context. What he is saying, Sahayagya prayah srishtva puravacha prajapatihi arena prasavishadham isha vastishtakamudhuk. This Prajapati, the Lord of creatures, he created, you see, these creatures along with the Yagyas. Sahayagya Praya Srištva. And he told, you see, at that time, Anina Prasavishadham Isha Bhastishtakamadik. By this shall you multiply. May this be to you like Kamudhenu. That means a cow of plenty, yielding of all your wants. So the Kamudhenu, it is a Kamudhenu did not exist. It is a national imagination. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantva parasparam bhavayanta shriyah param avavshyata. You cherish the devas. Devas means literally it means shining beings. That means, and these shining beings are there in many zones. For example, those who are these human beings, by doing great unselfish work, they become devatas, they say. So these devas, and they, and at least the ancient idea was that they control certain things. For example, there is a devata for rain, there is a devata for progeny, and you see, etc. So he said that you cherish the devas with yagya, because in yagya you are offering things, and this offering is cherished by them as during this your Shraddha, for example. Shraddha, the ancestors, the forefathers, the dead person, you see, you offer them food, and this food, since you are offering them, they are pleased with that. The meaning is that you are doing it with love, and they say it is recognized by them. They have also mind. This mind recognizes your act, that you are doing it lovingly and you are offering it. You see. So that's why you say that you cherish the devas with the yagyas, And the yagas in turn will, you see, give you rain and other, you see, things you want. You may want, for example, wealth. You may want, you may like to have progeny. You may like to have, see, your good health of your family members and the beasts, which was very important in ancient days. You see. Nowadays, wealth is you see, you count the wealth in bank accounts. In ancient days, wealth was counted in the number of milch cows. How many milch cows you have? You see, that is the standard. Do you have 5 or 10 or 50? You say milk cows, that is the standard of, you see, wealth. So, so the health of the beasts, etc. And thus, mutually cherishing, we shall attain the highest good. That is what the Prajapati says. Ishtan bhogan hivo deva dasyante yagyabhavita Tridatan apalaibhyo yo bhuntestena evasa. Cherished by you, they will give you these devas because they have been cherished through sacrifices. They will give you what you want. And things which have been given by them, and you do not share it with anyone, and you take it simply, you are a kind of thief. You are a thief because things are being given to you by God and you are not sharing it. Yes. So idea is that, see, sacrifice in one sense, you have to surrender everything to God. In another sense, you have to give it to the people, you see. In ancient days, you see, there used to be the question of 5 kinds of dates to, you see, you must pay for these dates. This Rishi Yagya, Deva Yagya, etc. You see. So for that, you must Bhuta Yagya, to the beings, you must give something to the. They used to give, for example, for the birds, for the animals in the house, they used to always keep something. They used to keep, see, they used to be ready for atiti. Atiti means someone who has no titi. That is, without announcing, someone will knock at your door. I want a shelter and a little food. And it was a custom in those days that you should offer it, you see. Yagyashishtashinas swanto muchyante sarvakilishai. Bhuyante te tahang papa ye pachanti atmakaranat. Now, what is left after a yagya? You see, if you take it, you are cleared of all the sins you have done. Now, what are the sins? In ancient days, the idea was that the himsa was itself a sin. All comes of violence. So you are the broomstick you are using. You are walking. So by that you are killing many insects, many creatures. So these questions are there. They used to say that when you take food which is left After a yajna, you are released from this, this violence which you have to do for living. Even for eating food, you have to do violence. Even if you take potatoes, not fish or meat, potato is a living thing, you see. So without violence, you cannot eat him, you see. So the notion was that all the time you are having sins because you are doing some violence. Bhujante tahang papa ye pachanti atmakaranat. Those who cook food only for themselves without sharing, they eat only sins. They consume only sins. Now there is a there is a shloka which requires another idea. You see, it is another idea. Yaggad bhavati bhutani pajjanna anna sammava yaggad bhavati pajjanna yagga karma samudbhava. Now this is another idea. You see, since yagya was there, that is, it is a yagya came naturally to the idea of yagya that there are higher beings. We must be grateful to them. They are granting us many things. You see, rain is coming to us, sunshine is coming to us, food is coming to us, etc. So for everything, you must be grateful. So, and in India, because Hinduism, if you look at it, from the very beginning, Proto-Hinduism, even, it began with the mastery over fire. That is very evident. That's why in all your auspicious events, a fire is lighted. A puja, a marriage, or anything, you see, a fire is lighted, you see. And the yagya was there, that was offering to fire. Now, and also the importance of the sun. Sun as the Agni-tattva, you see, is the greatest fire which was known to mankind. Say, because they saw three fires in ancient days: terrestrial fire, and in the firmament the great fire, the sun, and in between they saw the lightning. That's why Bhur Bhuva Swa. They say Bhur Bhuva Swa because they remember the zones in which fire is there. And this fire is again connected with intellect, because light or fire, through that we see many things. Intellect, when it is developed, we understand many things. This is like also a light. That's why the Gayatri Mantra, they are praying to God through the sun, so that it inspires, you see, the effulgence of the sun inspires the intellect. Because everything is connected, this sun, light of sun, and the intellect, that is also kind of fire. So they, you see, developed many theories, metaphysics out of it, I should say. Theories means metaphysics. So there is in your Manusmriti, there is a line which says that whatever you are giving in a yajna, if it is done properly, that goes to the sun. And the sun creates the rainfall. Because sun is your making the waters of the ocean evaporate, and due to that, so the sun gives rainfall, and due to rainfall you have food, and food is through the food creatures live, they're sustained by food. So that's why it is saying yagyat bhavati bhutani, annat bhavati bhutani. From anna, food, I say, comes the beings. Parjanad anna sambhava. Then from the cloud, this food has its origin in the cloud because rainfall is there, and due to rainfall, you see, the seeds germinate. Yagyad bhavati parjanna. Yagyad bhavati parjanna because yagyat, this the result of the yagya is that you get the cloud. It is not that a yagya, it is a result of the yagya, which is, you see, due to that, that means you are doing the yagya. That's why I remember, you see, it happened during the time of Saurada Devi. There was a drought-like condition for 2 years, and the third year, the people of Jairambati, they were very alarmed. They were very alarmed because for the third year, rain was failing. So the prospect of famine. If there is no rain at all, there is prospect of famine. So the elders of the village, they deliberated. They said that let us go to Saurada Devi. But so they put the problem to Saurada Devi. There is no rain for this, so all the children, of the village, they will soon die if there is no rain in a few weeks. Saurada Devi simply said that I shall tell Thakur. This is what it said. You see, she listened to them and replied that I shall tell Thakur. Next day, the whole village was covered with dark cumulus cloud. There was tremendous rain, and that year a bumper crop they got. So really, and so since then, you see, in different villages, whenever there used to be drought, they used to search for a priest who will do puja to Sri Ramakrishna. So, see, wherever there was drought, they used to search for a priest to do puja to Ramakrishna so that there is some rain. So, God, this is one thing I remember. Another thing I remember is this is Baburam Maharaj, Swami Premananda. He went to Maimansingh. Maimansingh, it is it is bordering Assam. This undivided Bengal bordering Assam. And there, the devotees were arranging a very big festivity. And in all festivities, devotees are given food. But devotees are very alarmed that, the sky was overcast and there was imminent, you see, huge rain will come. So they appeal to Swami Premananda, what to do, you see. We have arranged for all this festivity, we have informed people now, the climate is like this, you see. So hearing this, Swami Premananda came out of the room and stood, looked at the sky and said that, you see, if it remains like that, there is no rain and just your cloud like that, is it okay for you? He said, that is the perfect thing. There is no sun, there is no rain, so everything. So he said that it will be like that. You see. So you go ahead, it will be like that. There will be no rain. So they did the whole thing, you see. So these two things, that means, you say, that means God or higher beings, they can control this, they have some control over this phenomena. Yagya bhavati paryanna. So the result of the yagya is that the cloud is there. Yagya karma samudbhavaha. And yagya, that is the result of the yagya is due to karma. That means you are doing karma in the sense of yagya. You are doing yagya, so the result is there. You see. So that is the idea. That means here Krishna is eulogizing the idea of action with prayer. You see, yagya you are offering, and with the prayer you are wanting something. That's why you are doing yagya. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam. Now, this sacrifice is brahmodbhava, Brahma in the sense of Veda. It has come from the Vedas, the authority of the Vedas. This is and Vedakshara Sarvambhavam. Veda has been revealed by the Supreme Being. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yagya pratishtitam. Therefore, the all comprehending, let's say, Sadbhagatan Brahma, Brahma is everywhere. So this all comprehending Brahman is always established in sacrifice. That is, performance of sacrifice is the fundamental teaching of these Vedas. So let us stop here. And do you have any questions? So there is no question. Okay.
Maharaj,
yes.
The blueprint of the universe, you have mentioned something about.
Yes.
Can you just clarify? Can you just explain it again? The blueprint of the universe.
The universe, yes, yes. That is Mahat. That is Mahat. It is the first evolute from Prakriti. Mula Prakriti, the original Prakriti, from is the first evolute. It is called, technically it is called Mahat. Mahat in the sense great, because it has got the whole blueprint of the physical and psychical universes.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Prakriti and Adi Shakti are the same, and
Prakriti and Adi Shakti, yes. Adi Shakti is your, this term is not used in Sankhya, etc. You see, this Shakti is another, you see, another idea. That means it is, but they are same. Yes. In the one of the Upanishads said, Mayant Prakriting Buddhi Mainant Maheshwaram. This Maya is the Prakriti, and one who possesses the Maya is the great Lord. Mayant Prakriting Buddhi Mainant Maheshwaram. Shetashvatar Upanishad says. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat.